There are hundreds of product managers job available in UAE. And if you look at the GCC, there are more than 1,000 jobs available. If you look at the global scales, there are 26,000 jobs available for product management role, and that number is the highest in the recent history. It is growing at the rate of 28% year over year, and this is highest in the since COVID, because when the COVID hit, everyone was going online, everyone was focusing on technology, and now we are seeing that number going up again. We need to see the perspective of both sides, and that's what I will tell you. I will tell you how the product managers should look at it, and how the recruiters, the companies should look at it, and how they are looking actually as well. So let's think about the product managers, and not just the product managers who are looking for a job, but also people who are not actually looking for the job and they are settled, they are working as a product manager, PM somewhere in some companies, because the situation is changing, and sooner or later these traditional role of product manager will die, and is dying actually. So let's talk about the PM first, right? So the role of PM is changing, and what we have been saying for the many years, that the product managers are like a mini CEOs, what we like to call ourselves, right? But at the same time, product managers have been defining their scope of work, defining the standards of doing the product management. They've been trying to build so many frameworks. They have been trying to define the scope of work, trying to define the systems, processes, and everything. We will work on this thing. We cannot do a little bit of project management, and some backlog grooming, and trying to interact with other functions and see what they are coming up with, and then we can align everything. So this is what the product managers have been doing. That is seems to be failed, because this system of current product management is failing. This is the traditional product management role that was derived from the project management and somehow a little bit of designing and etc. But when you say that you are a mini CEO, think like a CEO. And when you see that when you say that you're thinking like a CEO, you're acting like a CEO. CEOs does not control themselves in terms of a scope of work or in terms of responsibilities, because CEOs are responsible for everything happening in the company, right? And that is the same for the product managers. You cannot just say that, okay, I'm going to build a good product, and then you forget about sales or marketing or the market research or the feedback or the customer support or monetization. You have to focus on everything if you are a product manager. That is the fact, and that is what we are seeing the companies are hiring for. They need people who can take the ownership, and that is why there's more demand than ever of a product manager. So many other roles are dying, but the product management role is not dying, it's growing, but it is changing. I'll give you some examples. One of my product managers is actively working on the content creation and content writing and content management. He's not just bounding himself to the product management role, the typical product management. He's seeing the opportunity that they need to improve the content of the product. So rather than just relying on the marketing person to do come up with the new content or different content strategy, he is working actively on the content, refining the push notifications, redefining the messaging, checking the timings and everything, and writing himself, doing a lot of A/B testing, understanding what's working, what's not working. He's doing it. At the same time, he's running a very big product that is reaching to millions of people every day, not every month, every day. Another product manager in my team, he's actively working on sales. He's actively doing the marketing. He's writing newsletters. He is doing all the cold reach on LinkedIn and wherever it's possible. And at the same time, he's doing the product management. I have another person who is doing the designing as well, and he's doing the product management, and he is coming up with all the ideas. This is the role of product manager. It's not just my team, it's what I'm seeing everywhere in every advanced modern company that is really modern, that is really advanced, that is really innovative. Their product managers are doing almost everything they can. Of course, they have support. Of course, they have people that can, help them, but they are not just sitting and just focusing on their backlog. They are working on everything. They are literally picking every element, every piece of the puzzle to understand what fits and how. I'll give you my example. It's not the best example, but back in 2012, 13, 14, I was a product manager. I was a product designer or a UX designer. And when I was working on one of the products, I volunteered myself because I thought that there is a lot of gap between the designer, product management, marketing, monetization, and everything. So I volunteered myself to become a product manager. And when I became a product manager, I did not just start trying to improve the product, but I actually focused on the content as well, because there was a lot of gap between the message that we were delivering to our potential customers and the actual message that was inside the product. So I was trying to fix the gap. Okay. And that's how I slowly became the head of product and general manager or whatever. And this is not just me, one example. There are so many people, so many product managers in the world. They became the CEO and they took the whole responsibility and slowly became the CEO of their company. And that is, in my opinion, that is the best path for a product manager, that eventually they will become the head of company. They will become the CEO of the company. Now, for the hiring companies, you need to see what's going on in America, because we see that America is way advanced always in terms of technology adoption and in terms of defining the tech culture and everything. Companies in UAE are slow, but they are catching up. If you look at the jobs, we see that not all of the companies are understanding what is the new or refined role of product manager is. In back of their mind, they have this understanding, but that does not reflect when I speak to them or when we read their job descriptions and when they are interviewing as well. Okay, so they don't understand it fully, but there are some companies that have opened the role of product managers, or they know that the product managers should have these new modern skills, not just those AI skills, but also all of those skills to really taking the responsibility of everything. So there are many companies who say we are innovative. Speak to their CEOs, they say we are innovative companies, we are advanced companies, we are AI company, But when we look at their job descriptions that they put online, there's no mention of how they want to use the AI, how they want their team to use the AI. But some companies, and we must appreciate these kind of companies, they are actively looking at what's coming up next. They are actively seeing how we can, use the AI, leverage the AI to improve their productivity and go way advanced. Here, I'm not talking about typical or a standard tech company that we know. This is United Al Sakir Group. They are like 40 years old company. They are actually group of companies. That's what I see. They have like Auto Drive, Auto Plus, Performance Plus Motors. They have Abu Dhabi Motors. They work on heavy equipments. They have a lot of motors companies, like the car companies under their umbrella. They have property management, they have construction company, they have wood factory, they have hotels. They are working on so many things. Okay, this is a big group, huge group, 40 years old. Their size is like 1,000 to 5,000 people. So it's a big company. It's an old company. It's probably a family or family business maybe. But what they are doing, they are hiring an AI product manager, program manager, a person who can, join them to understand how they can use AI for their company to define the problems clearly and, solve them. So this is the kind of companies that we should really appreciate. This is not a typical tech company, but they are focusing on tech and they are hiring people who can, do this. There are some mainstream tech companies in UAE like Kareem and Talabat. They are hiring for AI PM roles. And when you look at those job descriptions, when you talk to these people, it is clear that they understand what is the role of AI. But unfortunately, many companies are not understanding. They are still posting those old kind of job posts. They are still hiring for those traditional roles, and that is the problem. And that old method of AI PM is going to die in a year or two or maybe three. It is going to die because you need people who can really save your time and energy, and without waiting for other functions to come up to them, because the pace of delivery is changing. Now the last thing, I was reading this guy Keith Roboy. not reading, I was listening to one of his interviews, and what he says is that he is saying this actually the same thing, that the traditional role of PM is dying. Long-term roadmap is actually becoming obsolete because they want people who can, really do the things faster and quicker and bring the results. And that's entirely on the product managers. So the typical product manager role will no longer exist. You need people who can take the initiative, take the responsibility, and that is what Keith is saying. Now, who is Keith? Okay, Keith is a big shot. If you don't know Keith, you should know now. He was an executive at PayPal. He worked with Elon. He was the COO of Scare. He was VP at LinkedIn. He has been investing in some of the best startups in the modern history. For example, Stripe, DoorDash, Airbnb, YouTube, Ramp, Plantier, and he's running a VC firm as a managing director. So he's sharing his perspective. He has a lot bigger perspective than you and have, and he's saying that this is going to completely change. And when people like Keith are talking, you need to listen. You need to pay attention. One of the examples he gives is that when he is investing in many companies, they usually hire these kind of question that, okay, how many people do you have who can, who are what they call barrels. And what is barrels? Barrels are people who are high impact. They can take initiatives. So they are sort of the owners in your company. So the more you have in your company, better. Now, what's going to happen? Both sides have to take this very seriously, and many of these companies are taking it seriously. If you are a PM and you think you have got these skills and you are looking for a better role, I'm hiring for my companies and I'm hiring for some other companies. You can reach out to me and you know how to do it.